ProRes is Apple's post-production format, which was introduced in April 2007. It was designed to overcome a number of problems which the proliferation of formats from the acquisition cameras had been causing the post-production environment for many years. It was really great having Edge AA as a partner right there with us, right from the very beginning, having the IO-HD available. The reason I say that is quite simply flexibility. The IO-HD was a ProRes-based device, but it was tethered to the editorial system. Whereas Key Pro is actually part of the production process. The tremendous flexibility of the device allows it to bridge both worlds. You're going to make people feel very comfortable because you can eject something which feels like a tape but is in fact a drive. I think the real question should be, what isn't revolutionary about what the Key Pro does? I mean, it works on so many different levels, and the product has been so well thought out and specifically designed to overcome so many of the problems which we face when moving from production to post-production. It just starts with the notion of being able to ingest material into ProRes, a file-based acquisition device in a format which is highly optimized for the editorial bay right from the very beginning, and being able to connect that to Final Cut and being able to work with it immediately. As you start to go deeper into this, you start to realize that it fixes so many of the other problems too. The idea of having so many different options for input on this device, on the Key Pro, is incredible. Obviously it works with HD formats, and you can even use it with HDMI, but no matter what you're working on, if you're starting with SD today, if you've got SD gear, even if you're using that as a second camera on a shoot, the notion that you've got this ability to upscale will allow you to establish a resolution and work to it, so that you know that you've got consistency with all of the material that you're working with. So there's no unexpected behavior when you put the material on the Final Cut timeline and you realize that it was thin raster instead of full raster. Or it's important that the whole material is 720 and you want it to be that way. That's a decision that you can make early on in the production process, no matter what device you're using, and have the Key Pro take care of it. It essentially becomes part of your camera and becomes part of your production tool, because it really extends the investment in any of the hardware that you've already got. Problem solved. The notion of not having to lay on a dusty floor under a table and change the settings on this device, the fact that I can configure all of the aspects of it, the frame rate, the resolution, no matter what it is that you want to get in there and configure, it can all be done through a web browser wirelessly. So this means that if I have a MacBook Pro on set, which I'm going to use for editorial, I can just fire up Safari, I can get in there and I can tune the Key Pro. It also means that I can use my iPhone or even an iPod Touch. I can just connect to this thing wirelessly, open up Safari, I've got my settings, I can change them and adjust them on the fly. I don't even need to be in the same room. It's just inherently flexible. You can store to a spinning disk, you can store to a flash, or you can actually store to an express card and then literally sliding it into the editorial system right next door and being able to edit that inside of Final Cut, or look at it in color, or applying a different look, or even applying motion graphics, or putting a lower third on it to make sure that the camera positions are right. The options are endless, and it just gives you tremendous, tremendous flexibility. The Key Pro is really the next step in the evolution of Apple's and Edge AA's partnership. It really marries the world of production and post-production through the next generation of codecs from Apple through ProRes into one big unified family, and really makes the line blurred like never before between the acquisition to the edit bay. The truth is that if you ask most of the people at Apple about what their first reaction was when they first saw the Key Pro, I think overwhelmingly everybody would have just said, "Thank you."